I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Elections of Moore County to order. I'd like all those who are present to identify yourselves, call your roll, just raise your hand, please. Bill Gates. I'm here. Marty Carpenter.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
And our new director, Joanna Dixon, is here with us. Great to have you here. We also have, I'm Richard Ashford, by the way. I just assumed someone knew this. Our chair is with us on his telephone. He's in transit and will not be joining us here present at the physical setting here today.
I'm present. I'm here.
I hope you all heard that. I hope it's recorded. He's here, not in body, but in spirit. Craig, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask all board members to identify whether or not you have a conflict of interest in the business that we're going to conduct today.
None.
I have none. Okay. It's unanimous. No one here has a conflict of interest. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes of December 1st, 2021. They've been sent out to us on the internet. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Not hearing any. Would someone please make a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes from December 1st. I will second it.
The minutes have been approved. The following is old business. The first item on that agenda is the completion of the one-stop plan. That also was sent to us on the computer. Are there any questions concerning that?
Richard, I have one. And I commend our director for, I think she considered a lot of things that were raised in prior meetings, and very pleased with the changes that were made. I only have one suggestion, which is this: the Sunday that is provided for happens to be Mother's Day, May 8th. My concern is that we may have more trouble getting poll workers to work that day because they'll be visiting with family or maybe additionally out of town. And really the same is true with voters who might want to be voting on a Sunday. So I would suggest, and one change to the plan as proposed would be we would move the one day of Sunday voting back to the prior Sunday, May 1, and keep the hours proposed of 2 to 5. And with that, that's the only change I would have to the proposed plan.
Comments?
Well, I agree with him.
Additional suggestions? May I have a motion to approve?
Well, since I suggested it, I'll move that we adopt the plan as proposed by the director with the one change, that we move the one day of Sunday one-stop voting to May 1 instead of May 8, with the hours that were proposed before.
And I'll second that motion.
Any discussion of the amendment to the plan? Not hearing any, I'd like to have a vote. on whether or not the amendment to the plan is accepted. All in favor, say aye.
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 That's a unanimous approval of the change in the one-stop plan. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of judges in precinct. Again, these names of the judges and those of us who are assisting have been distributed to the members of the board. Are there any questions concerning any or all of these particular candidates for judge? Have you all reviewed them?
Yes.
Any questions, any concerns?
My only concern is I see that we're gonna need some poll workers. And I guess that's something that we're gonna have to get looking at.
Yes, sir, we're still recruiting. We're getting names in through the state democracy portal in now, and we're still having people calling so that we're doing that continuously as we speak right now.
Those 4 sites, we have year after year issues with getting poll workers. Those 4 that are listed: East Norwood, Eastwood, Pine Bluff, and Taylortown. They usually have pretty much the bare minimum workers to conduct the precinct. So, if there's any way that, I mean, we're still reaching out, like Tawana said, to those listed on the Democracy Heroes that we get through the state site. So, but those 4 sites are problem areas.
Reminded me to check with you after the meeting. I have someone who expressed an interest in working.
Okay.
What are the minimum number of people in a precinct to make it functional?
I would say about 7 to 8, I would say is fair.
Okay.
And they are smaller precincts. Taylortown, Eastwood, they usually have 1 check-in, 1 help desk. So they usually work on about sometimes maybe just 5 or 6 poll workers. Okay, so they are smaller precincts, but we'd like them to have, you know, a few extra bodies, whether it's to take a food break or, you know, just to step outside. So, and a lot of, I do know Taylortown, we have a lot of out of precinct poll workers that we pull from other precincts to work that way. Actually, most of them are out of precinct, whether it's from Pinehurst A2, Pinehurst A1, right there, and West End.
And that's okay as long as.
May I hear a motion to approve of the appointment of these judges? Actually, it's not an appointment, is it? Are we actually appointing them now?
You completed the appointment.
Yes,
correct?
because most of them were appointed. We left, I'll read them off. We left Ben Salem, DHR, Eastwood, Little River, and Westmore off because they don't participate in municipal elections. So we didn't really end up, and we deferred Robbins. I'm sorry. Even though Robbins participated in municipal, we did defer it. But those are the ones that are not appointed technically.
Does that mean later on we have to appoint them?
Well, this is what this is for now.
In order to get the motion straight, you want to name those precincts again.
Ben Salem, Deep River, High Falls, Ritter, DHR, Eastwood. I'm going to include Little River, Robbins, and Westmore.
West End,
Westmore.
Westmore.
Mhm.
All the double asterisks.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we confirm the recommendations for judges as submitted by staff and the director for the following precincts. Ben Salem, DHR, Eastwood, Little River, Robbins, and Westmore.
Second. Hearing none, I move that we vote on the acceptance of the motion for the approval of the appointment of judges as noted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous vote, approval of the appointment of judges. New business is the first item on new business, the approval of the director's duties. Now, this was reviewed, I think it was in December, maybe November of last year, when we reviewed the director's duties and acted upon it. How would you like to approach this tomorrow?
Well, I reviewed the duties and I do accept what the board had put in place. As far as what my duties do entail, and if that's okay with the board, then they can make a motion for me to be able to accept and then you would sign it. I acknowledge duties.
Well, to the best of my recall, there was unanimous approval of the actions of the board when we developed and acted upon the duties of director last year. It seems to me that all we're really going to do now is just confirm the fact that we had previously approved of that in our preparation for our search for a new director. And I guess I should have a, yes, sir.
Well, I read them a little more carefully this morning. I don't remember how carefully I read them last time around, but I'm kind of reinforcing the idea that that the director only has what powers that we don't. Try to be a little more careful in reading them over this time. I did read them over this morning to see if there's anything missing that ought to be part of the delegation. And I have one or two things I'd like to at least have the board. I believe that, and it may have the duties last time around, that we were apprised of the continuity of operations plan, which is very important, becoming of increasing importance to, I think, all boards. And my first run through this morning, I didn't find anything that specifically addressed that the director has the responsibility to be involved in supervising the continuity of operations for the Board of Elections. I think that's something that should be, I'd certainly, if the director has some concerns about anything we have in mind, feel free to speak to it, but I think that is something that ought to be mentioned. Let's see, what was the one other thing I had?
Was on a we delegated the hiring to you, and we have a position we're going to fill right now. And I'm assuming that once you've selected that person, you will then present that person to us for our review, get a chance to talk with them, interview them, and then we do a yes or no. And
So I'm confused. So you want to be a part of the hiring process, or do I?
like I said, part of the discussion we need to have, not only that we would get a chance to meet the person before you actually hire them, I guess is one of the questions we have.
This is me personally, that's not our role. We delegated that to the director. So whoever
our director decides as a staff, it's her decision. We've delegated that to her, just like when Glenda was the director. And so it's not really our role unless we're going to take that away from her. I don't want to be in charge.
That was just a question Mr. Case and I had about that. Not that we really wanted, it's just a chance to possibly get to meet the person before. And
Again, that kind of, to me, oversteps our bounds. We've delegated that to her. It's her responsibility to hire.
It's an inherent part of the role that you're saying, right?
If we're gonna pre-interview candidates before they're hired, we don't need a director. We can, you know what I'm saying? We might as well take that away from them.
it wasn't a pre-interview, it was whenever she has her final candidate. I didn't know if we have to actually say yes, hire, or is that, we've totally given that to the director to do.
Correct.
Okay.
And HR. Yeah. She's gonna work.
That's why I'm still new and asking questions.
If I may, that, I think it's down and responsibility of the director. I could appreciate this discussion, but I don't think that we need to go beyond those boundaries where there's work will from Glenda to now. That is my opinion.
You all heard her.
I don't necessarily have a problem with, at all with the director having the sole responsibility to do everything on that. And I don't know that we necessarily need to vote on what she chooses, but I don't know, I just think it's probably just a good practice that she advise us and tell us about who she's has in mind. And maybe, at least listen to any thoughts we might have about that person. Who knows, we might know something about that person she has in mind, it's at least possible. But I think it's actually, whatever's inherent in the position is what the duties we delegate to her. That's what we're looking at right now. And I think it's at least fair to ask, do we want that solely to be in her court? And I guess that's been the practice to this date. I'm okay with it, but I just thought it was worthy of discussion.
You know, the delegation that we made last year, at the end of the year, was very comprehensive. And I think the only reason we're even talking about this right now is probably just to make you feel a little bit more comfortable that we've reviewed it and that we've reconfirmed or confirmed our decision of the prior year. I myself was rather taken by the detail and the length of information that is contained in the responsibility for the the board. We establish policy, but the actual day-to-day operations is really in the director's role. And I'm very doing anything it takes away the prerogative of the person who is responsible for the actual performance of the duties around here. None of us are that familiar with the nitty-gritty of running a elections office and keeping apprised of all the details that entail in that process. So that's why we confirm a lot of, or delegate a lot of duties, specific duties to the director. The person who is ultimately responsible for the function, the performance of the Board of Elections. We establish policy, we delegate the carrying out of those policies to the director, and we're going to hold the director responsible for the performance, right, of the department. So I myself see no need to be that precise. I think common courtesy, civility is, we would like to see and have an opportunity to know about the person that you're selecting to hire a new person. Compatibility with us, well, we come and go. The board changes. For 35 years, there's been people who've worked here, and the department ran well. So I rather suspect that that's the role of the director, to make sure that it runs well. And if not, then the board has to step in and take some action. So I don't even know if we need to reaffirm this this delegation of duties myself, but I'm all in favor of doing it.
Well, the only thing then, I do believe though, because we are trying to delegate everything we can, the continuity of operations is not included. And I suppose it should be specified as one of the duties.
I believe this is an all-encompassing document here.
Certainly is.
And I think the continuity of operations is kind of standard operating procedure. So I don't think we need to add it in here. This document, like Richard said, is really very encompassing. So
I guess my question is, could state board of elections or a more county requirement?
that's more of a state board, I believe, you know, continuity of operations, and that goes into more county. Even the county manager, he has the continuity of operations, or his IT department, emergency management, and the Board of Elections is actually included in that. So it's already part of the county standard operating procedures. I don't think.
But we technically don't say anything about state board of elections. What I'm asking is requirement is the word county government, that it probably needs to be specified there, because everything in that first paragraph, duties and responsibilities, is basically on state board of elections. That's my, to make sure we've covered everything with that. If it's a state requirement, then it's already included in there. But if it's a county requirement,
We follow county policy, what I've heard. And so that's in our county policy. But this is where the majority of what I follow is state policy.
You know, to me, it's just a superfluous thing. I don't really feel strongly one way or another.
No, I mean, we could add it, and it's just gonna be in there, but I think the document is good the way it is, so.
at least we had a discussion.
Well, part of it is, I assume the director would agree that this is something that has to be done, as long as we understand the continuity of operations as part of your duty specifically described. So, the question I had, the word aid, A-I-E, is incorrect. It's used, aid is a noun. When somebody is to be aid to somebody, but to say you are aiding somebody, it should be AID. That's a small thing, but if you want to make it correct, I would say everywhere where aid is here, AID, it should be AID.
I think I made a motion. I've got one thought.
I didn't specifically make a motion. If there's, I will not make a motion to change the director's duties, because I think there's at least consensus that that's understood. I don't think there's any reason to go further. The only thing I would say is perhaps if this is going to be a permanent document, we change the spelling of aid as I've suggested and make a motion to that effect.
And basically, a discussion you have now said, yes, we believe this encompasses everything. So we, as a board, have already decided, yes, this is good. As it is.
Second.
That's a motion?
Yeah, I made a motion, just a typo, really. Well, you want to make it right.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's suggestion, it's a good suggestion, you know, I wonder why we even have to do it myself, that's okay. Reverend, do you have any comments?
No, listen, I think the discussion is great, and I think we come back to the conclusion that, except for that spell, that we should be confident. As I believe the discussion was the great responsibility that the director has, and the other side of the coin is the director is accountable to those duties, and I believe that leaving the way it is and approving it is good, just going to place us in a position to be effective, because we've already gone over in November, what those duties are. It's pretty comprehensive, but I just want you to know that I do appreciate the exhaustive discussion, because it's through that we discover whether or not there's something that might be overlooked. I think that what we are is that yes, it should be sustained as it is.
All right, so we don't have a motion.
Well, I made one. Another typo.
The motion to accept it as it's written, except for the grammar error, as like that, and then I seconded it, so we need.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, that bill, please. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Aye, yes, unanimous. Thank you. All right. I guess you were an English major, huh?
He's a writer.
I have to do a light editing of my own work,
I'm
so.
always impressed with that. Director's report.
Yes, sir. So I just, this is what I do to make sure that if my board members are out anywhere and someone asks you a question, you have the information that you need to give them. I think it's Linda for her help with this also. So one of the county commissioners has decided to step down. He has an unexpired term. It will be placed on the primary ballot and the general election ballot. So if anyone asks you, there is a position for District 2 for county commissioners that will be open. The executive committee for the Republican Party will appoint someone to fill his term down until December, but the position is open to anyone that lives in that district to either have their name placed on the ballot. Just in case anyone comes across you and they ask, that's what's about to take place coming up when our filing takes place at the end of this month. Also, there is a normalized spring conference, which is March the 14th and the 15th. The 14th is basic breakfast and lunch provided for you, so you guys don't come back, because that one day it is a long day, and then Tuesday is more for staff, but board members are welcome to attend if they want to. And that's all that I have.
Wait, I think I missed an item on the agenda. And that was a call for public comment.
There was none.
Okay. I do want to apologize for that. We usually start off our meetings with that being one of the first items. And, I just don't do these meetings very often. So I overlooked that. Is there any further business for us to bring from the board? Bill, Mark? Great.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
And let's say good luck to you, Reverend.
Yes.
Hope everything goes well today.
Thank you so much, it's about the hospital, thank you so much. I appreciate all the money that's in this. I do appreciate having such a board of elections who diligently strive to find what's best for the people of the county. And the new director for being so comprehensive, he get information out to us. I'll let you agree.
Well, thank you very much. The board meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all. Oh, we have